Hey there, creepy peeps. Welcome to my channel if you're new here, and welcome back if you're returning. You guys loved this last one so much, so of course I have to do it again. We're gonna do another tier list ranking, whatever the heck it's called. But this time we're going to be doing it not for final girls or even the heroes of the story, the villains, the slashers, the psychotic killers. So here it is again, our little ranking. Tiers. A couple of y'all called me out last time for doing halfsies, so we're not gonna do halfsies this time. We're just gonna I'm gonna have to give them a distinct space on the tier ranking list. I'm gonna do it right this time. So let's go ahead and jump into this, starting off with Victor Crowley. I almost forgot about Victor. I was getting together all the images that I was going to talk about, and I almost forgot about Victor, and I felt bad about it, so we got to talk about Victor Crowley. Maybe not the most well-known slasher ever, not a household name I don't think, but within the horror community I think we all know who he is. I don't think he's the worst, maybe not the most prolific. He doesn't have as many movies, but I feel like we have to give some credit where credit is due for creativity in kills. So that being said, I think I'm gonna put Victor Crowley on the B tier. I think creativity has to be worth something, right? I should have said, obviously I can't include every single horror movie villain in this, so if I forgot your faves, I'm sorry, but I can't include them all. It would be a super long video. We can always do part 2 and 3 and 4 and whatever. So if there's anybody I missed, let me know in the comments and I'll just make a list of people I forgot and we'll talk about them next time. Next, Samara. Samara from The Ring. Gotta say, I'm not the most scared of Samara, to be honest, especially in 2020. I'm not a VHS collector, so maybe some of y'all VHS collectors need to watch out. But I don't collect VHSs, so I'm not really scared of Samara. But on the other hand, I have watched things that have claimed to be cursed documentaries, cursed movies, and you know, I just went and watched them with wild abandon. So I feel like I'm very susceptible to like falling into a situation where a Samara-like entity could be coming after me because I was stupid and watched something supposedly cursed. So if I think about it that way, she is pretty scary. But if the only solution is just like redistributing it, you know, then whatever. We can do that. I feel like the solution's pretty easy, so I'm gonna give Samara a C. I'm gonna put her on the C tier. Hold on. I feel like I already have to resize these things. Some of them are probably gonna get kind of small, so sorry about that. There we go. Samara is on C tier. Next up, Pinhead. I felt like I had to include Pinhead because so many of you guys like the Hellraiser series. I gotta be honest with you, I've only seen 2 Hellraiser movies ever. I'm just not as interested in Hellraiser. I don't know if I just like missed the boat or what. Like I missed the hype train. I don't know. I'm just not as into Hellraiser. So I feel like for me, Pinhead doesn't really do it for me. They are, like, I know like the Cenobites are into pain and torturing and things like that, at least my very limited understanding of the Hellraiser movies. So that makes them kind of scary. But on the other hand, the majority of what I know from Hellraiser has to do with that lament configuration. So if you just don't like fuck with shit that's supposed to be like cursed and whatever, honestly you should be fine. So I'm gonna put Pinhead in the D tier. Sorry, I feel like I made a lot of people angry maybe by doing that, but whatever. Okay, next up, one of y'all's favorites, Pennywise. I feel like I mention this like every time I talk about any sort of clown movie. Clowns don't scare me. They just don't. But we also have to take into account that Pennywise as an entity is gonna vibe off of what scares you personally. So obviously he's not gonna take the form of a clown with me because I'm not afraid of clowns. So I mean, just thinking about the fact that he could turn into a giant spider, and has before, See, I'm struggling because I feel like within the movies, if I think about him in the movies, he's mostly a clown figure. I'm not scared of clowns. So part of me is kind of like D tier. But thinking about Pennywise as an entity that he could take on what I'm scared of makes me want to put him a little bit higher. So I think I'm gonna go with C with that. Yeah, I'm gonna go C for Pennywise. I felt like it was only fair, since I'm doing Pennywise from the 1990 version, to do Pennywise from 2017 and 2020. Oh no. Clicked the wrong thing. There we go. Pennywise, all right. I feel like he, you know, same rap as Tim Curry Pennywise down here from 1990. But I feel like maybe, and this is maybe just because this is fresher in my brain, these two It movies, are the more recent ones, are fresher in my brain. I feel like he takes the more personal route, like really digging into your psyche there to hit you where it hurts. So I might put this Pennywise just slightly above that. And I like that there's something, you can tell there's something otherworldly about Pennywise just by looking at him, even in the clown form, where I feel like, no offense, I mean, also this was in 1990, so I just feel like just looking at him, that could be a human in a clown suit, which doesn't scare me in the slightest. Next, we gotta talk about my main man, Norman Bates. Norman Bates wouldn't even hurt a fly. Is there anything scarier than a straight white cisgendered man? I don't know. I'm trying to think of these killers too, in the sense like if I were facing off against them also, not just by like personal preference, because I feel like I'd put Norman Bates in God tier if I was doing it personal preference, just because I really like the movie Psycho. But would I engage this heavily with the owner of a motel if I was staying at one? No. Also, I don't go anywhere, so would I ever be staying at a motel? No. So I feel like in terms of like scariness, I gotta put Norman down here. It hurts my heart a little bit, to be honest. Just know, Norman, just know that if this was personal preference only, you'd be at the top, buddy. You'd be at the top. Next, Mary Mason from American Mary. Very scary because kind of like Hellraiser a little bit, more so into the torturing than killing. I feel like she doesn't have the highest body count, but with the people who have scorned her, she's done some fucked up shit to them, seriously, and kept them alive while doing said fucked up shit. So that's pretty scary, the whole like disfiguring and like using that knowledge of like, you know, like she does some good with the cosmetic surgeries that she's doing for people, but with that kind of knowledge, that just means you can do some fucked up shit to people. So that's pretty horrifying. And I feel like, you know, all she has to do is drug you and knock you out, and then you're at her mercy, and she can do whatever the fuck she wants, and you're gonna wake up and not know, you know, if you have any of your limbs left or whatever. So You know, you could have all these piercings that you didn't want. That's pretty scary. And that would just hurt for a while, right? So I feel like I gotta put Mary up here. Of course I had to include him. Michael Myers. Y'all would have rioted if I didn't. Kind of difficult. I'm sorry, I have to throw a little bit of shade to the franchise. I honestly can't help it. It's hard to decide how to approach this because the franchise just has so many timelines. Okay, that's it. Sorry, that's it. That's all the shade I was gonna throw. I honestly, I don't hate Halloween. I promise I don't. It's just kind of funny to make fun of it. I don't know why. I shouldn't anymore. That's mean. Anyways, Michael Myers, you guys, is difficult to pick because there are so many timelines in the franchise, but I feel like the main thing with Michael is the man just doesn't fucking die. And depending, the majority of the timelines, how about that? The majority of the timelines this franchise takes, he's just a man. And that's pretty scary because I feel like there's got to be something supernatural about him, right? But like the whole not knowing is pretty scary because if you don't know, how do you know how to kill him, right? Because, you know, you could try everything and he could just sit right back up and you don't know why or how that's possible. So I gotta put him in God tier. Like, how are you gonna defeat him? You don't know. And especially if you don't know what timeline you're in. Okay, I'm seriously done now. Okay. Next on my list is Lola from The Loved Ones. I had to include my girl Lola. I love her so freaking much. She is so sadistic and just batshit crazy, and we love that. We stan. I feel like gotta lose points a little bit for that very weird relationship with her father that's very creepy and very unsettling and just gross. And she does rely on her dad to do a lot of her killing for her, which I feel like it loses points a little bit. I get that she's in high school, I know that, but come on, you know. And I feel like her dad did most of the work also, but I guess you could look at that in a sense that like she is controlling her dad and she makes her dad do that, which could just be even more sadistic. Never really thought about it like that before. But I also have to think about it in the sense of like, if I were in this situation, which in my current state, I don't think I would be. Right? Because at least as far as we know, Lola is only interested in men. So I feel like I may not end up in a situation where I have to face off against Lola. So I feel like that lessens the scariness a bit. I feel like I gotta put her on E. Next, Leslie Vernon. I love Leslie. He's such a character. I love him. There's just something about a self-aware slasher that just gets me. You know, it just gets me. I love Leslie. He's a little bit endearing, which is awesome. It draws you in particularly to him, especially if you're part of a documentary film crew that's following him around. But he's got that endearing quality to him. I will say he is just a man, and as far as we know, he does die at the end of his movies, so don't know. I feel like I might be okay if I face off against Leslie. He has a vast knowledge of slasher movies though, so he knows the formula. He knows how to get you, but it is 2020 and slashers just aren't what they used to be. So that being said, this pains me a lot, but I feel like we got to put Leslie on F tier. Yeah? I don't want to hear anybody say this is biased, because look at this. I put Michael Myers on God tier and 2 of my favy faves, 3 of some of my favy faves on the bottom, okay? This is unbiased. This is absolutely unbiased. Okay, Leatherface. just based on the fact that this man is a literal refrigerator, horrifying, scary. He literally could just overpower you so easily, and chainsaws are just scary. They're loud, they're scary. Genuinely hate the people running around with chainsaws at like Halloween Horror Nights. And I feel like that's partially to do with Leatherface. And also, you know, he does come with a family that's as equally sadistic as Leatherface is, and it might even just be even scarier that Leatherface is so misunderstood. And it's his family, really, that's the sadistic ones. And it's almost like Leatherface just doesn't know any better, you know? Like, he could have been just like a sweet, docile boy, but it was the family, right? So that's pretty scary because it's in his upbringing, you know? So, tough. He was pretty easy to get away from. If we're just talking about the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre, he was fairly easy to get away from, you know, and he kind of just gave up too. He didn't keep going after Sally. So I don't know. I feel like we got to put Leatherface on C. I'm going to put him right in the middle. I feel like that's fair, right? That's fair. Okay, moving right along. Jigsaw. Okay, I had to find a picture that included the both of them. Because we got Billy the Puppet, but Billy the Puppet is voiced by Jigsaw as the character, so we have to include both. Super sadistic. Just really scary, you know, to think about being in one of those traps. And the fact that he thinks he's teaching you a lesson makes it a whole lot scarier, and there's really no reasoning with him to get him to like let you out without you having to do something completely fucked up, right? And then again, just thinking about if I were in that situation, would probably be royally fucked because I have a very low tolerance for pain. So I don't think I would be okay. But there's always that chance that you could get out of it, right? Most of the traps. So I feel like I'm gonna put him on A tier. I don't think he's quite God level. I think he thinks he's God level, but I don't think he's God level. Next, Candyman. I'm sorry, the way I put these pictures up, I didn't think about them being covered, but Candyman. All right, points definitely for that voice, for one. Draws you in. That's a huge, like bees to honey, man. Like bees to honey. Just draws you in. And he's got a little bit of a sympathy factor because his backstory is really just, I think out of all of the slashers I've included already and will include, the most tragic. So he gets big sympathy points for me. That sultry voice, love. But we also have to take into account, for you to be in a situation where he comes after you, you have to be dumb and stand in a dark room and say his name 5 times into the mirror. Am I gonna do that? No. I think anybody's chances are really low if you legitimately summon him, but you kind of deserve it at that point. So I think I'm gonna put Candyman on D tier, only because of that factor of, you know, I'm not gonna summon Candyman. I'm not going to. I'm not that dumb. Okay, Chucky. Wow, I should have really thought about these pictures. The placement of them, sorry. Chucky. Not afraid of dolls. He's like clowns to me, just not afraid. You could just punt them. I don't understand why we have so many movies of people just being killed by Chucky all the time. He's just a doll, you guys. I know he's possessed with a serial killer, but Jesus. I'm sorry, really not scary to me. I don't mess with dolls anyway. Bottom. Now, I thought it would only be fair that we include the new Chucky. Remember this? I feel like this was only 2019 that this came out, and I honestly feel like this was 5 years ago. We have to include new Chucky because there's a very distinct difference between these two Chucky dolls, being this one is AI, which is a little bit scarier than, I'm sorry, a serial killer confined in a doll's body. This is AI, and we rely so much on technology now. So I feel like that instantly makes this Chucky a little bit scarier. Yeah, because he's got a wealth of knowledge on the internet to pull from, and if he decides to go on a psycho rampage, he can just look up like every serial killer and every slasher ever with his vast knowledge. So I feel like that bumps him up a little bit, but not too much, because he is just still a doll. So I'm gonna put him on E for that. Getting down to the last bits here. Jason, although you can't see it because it's covered. Sorry, I didn't think through the placement of the pictures. Jason Voorhees. We have to talk about Jason. Definitely something supernatural about it. I think that's pretty well established, even though they never quite explain it. But it's a little bit more obvious that this is not just a man like with Michael Myers. Although, very hard to kill. And also, again, like Leatherface, just a refrigerator of a person. So, brute force alone and size, pretty scary. Would he go after me though? With my knowledge of slasher movies, I could just make sure I don't do the things that's gonna make him come after me. But in so doing, I might accidentally make myself the final girl by not partaking in like the premarital sex, the drinking and smoking and stuff, right? I could accidentally make myself a final girl, which means I'm gonna have to face off against him. B. B level. Y'all knew this was coming. Ghostface. Had to include Ghostface. Kind of a difficult one to talk about also because, sorry, spoiler alert, Ghostface is many people. Ghostface is not the same person between every movie, but therein lies just like infinite ghost faces. You could have an endless amount of Ghostface because it's a different person every time. It's not just one person. So if you kill them, you actually kill them, but they can still come back as somebody else. That makes it really scary, honestly, and it's just pretty brutal also. One way to get out of being killed by Ghostface is just not be associated with Sidney Prescott, so there's that. But I feel like the fact like that it's never ending, you could always have a Ghostface, there's always somebody who could take on the Ghostface persona, means we gotta put it into God tier. And no, I did not just do that because I put Halloween in a God tier, okay? I also put Sidney Prescott and Laurie Strode in God tier, if you remember. Anyways, moving on before I get criticized too much. Last three here. Freddy Krueger. We have to talk about Freddy. Big points for attacking you in your dreams because, you know, sleep is supposed to be peaceful, regenerative, you're supposed to feel rejuvenated. Freddy's gonna take all that away from you. You're not gonna be able to sleep, so you have to fight just sleep deprivation and him at the same time. But he is seemingly fairly easy to get rid of if you just take your fear back. You know, you don't let him get in under your skin, you know? But that's not always the easiest thing to do, especially if you're sleep deprived. So honestly, I gotta put Freddy at A. Sorry, Jason. Kind of easy to beat if you can get around the sleep deprivation, but I am not good when I'm sleep deprived, so. Okay, last two here. We got Carrie White. Good old Carrie. What's really scary about her is, you know, you all know at the end of her movie, she kills everybody, even the people who are nice to her. So there are no holds barred for this, right? She's gonna kill you regardless. It doesn't matter if you were nice to her, you're dead. And she has telekinesis. So literally you could die in any number of ways and she's not even gonna have to lift a finger. So I feel like, honestly, God tier. She's gotta go there, right? She's gotta go in God tier. There's no way you can beat that. All right, last but not least, Annie Wilkes. She's the craziest of the fangirls. She's your worst nightmare of a fan ever. I mean, she goes to pretty drastic lengths, but you also have to be the object of her affection. So that, you know, that could save you, you know, if you're not an author, you don't do anything worthy of, you know, like having fans, you know, you're not like an actor, a singer, an artist, anything like that, just a well-known person, you might be okay, right? But if she does get you, that's pretty scary. Actually, you know what? I'm zeroing in on it without even really thinking about it, but I feel like she'd be B tier. Like, she's pretty formidable. So there you have it. That is my ranking of all of these horror killers. I know I missed so many, but that's 20 of them right there already ranked. So let me know in the comments if there was anybody I missed that you want to see in perhaps a part 2. Let me know. And that goes for final girls too, or just like horror movie heroes in general. I'll just make a list, a running list of them, and we'll do part 2s of these because these are fun to do and I think you guys like them. You guys really like the last one. Hopefully my God tier is not too controversial. Whatever. Michael Myers, you guys all love Michael. Ghostface, Carrie, I think that's pretty solid, and I probably didn't offend anybody by putting Leslie Vernon at the bottom, only myself. Maybe I offended some of you by putting Chucky on the bottom. I'm sorry, dolls don't scare me, okay? And let me know who you would put like in God tier in terms of like horror movie slashers also in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new here. Become a creepy peep today. I post 2 new videos a week. Thank you so much for watching. I will talk to you very, very soon. Until then, stay strange. Bye.